Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol and welcome to my CarVid19 Daily vlog, uploading a new video every day at 6 p.m. to keep you sane during lockdown. Today it's time for some more modifications to my new John Cooper Works Mini Clubman. Don't worry people, today I won't be using the Stanley knife. Oh no, it's far worse than that. Today I'm going to be using my socket set. Yes, well, the belt line dechrome went really well. I think you'll agree she looks absolutely magnificent. Hasn't actually moved since I made that video. But there were so many of you put in the comments that pretty much I think you all had heart failure the moment I got a Stanley knife out to start cutting the edges of the vinyl tape. Now, look, under ideal circumstances, yes, I would have got a scalpel, but look, we're in lockdown. I couldn't get hold of one. I had a Stanley knife. It would do. Now, I don't know if any of you saw my live Q&A that I did last week. Well, during that Q&A, the guys from Motech Performance were online and kind of teased me a little bit. Remus on the Clubman. Now, there's a thing. Motech Performance, you are teasing me. We need to have a conversation about that. Yes, he needs to do this. That's it. Motech there's a big shout for Motech on the Clubman. Let's do some Motech mods. Chat soon, Motech, definitely. Snazzy new beard. I've had this beard for 5 years. Now, many of you will have heard of Motech. They do all kinds of tuning bits for BMWs and Minis. And we had a bit of a conversation after that Q&A about possible things we could do to the Clubman. Unfortunately, well, actually, unfortunately, the farm out the back is still working even though we're on lockdown because that is an essential service. And he's clearly backing up one of his tractors. Apologies for the beeping. But yeah, we had a chat about what we could do to Charlie Clubman here, but obviously that means me going to them, and that's not going to happen for quite some time. And then they said, well, we reckon there's a modification you can do yourself if you fancy having a go. And I said, look, you do realise it's me we're talking about here. This is me. I am the worst at doing DIY. Everybody who saw the dechroming video probably will agree with that. And they went, no, we've got a modification you can do to this car which will improve performance and make it sound better, and you can do it yourself. So they sent me this in the post. So what could this possibly be? Now, all of you mega car mechanics and tuners, don't get excited. I think you'll probably guess by now. So in this box, we have a really simple modification that anybody can do to their car that's going to increase the airflow into the engine by some 30%, should increase a bit of induction noise and just generally make the car feel a little bit sharper to drive. And it's a simple pipe across panel air filter. It's not very difficult, although I have a feeling there's a potential for things to still go spectacularly wrong. But it is a really easy fit. It goes straight into the airbox. There's no modifications needed at all. It's just going to increase the airflow into the engine, and at the end of the day that's all important. The more air you get into the engine, the better combustion and all of those types of things. So a little bit of better performance and better noise as well. So it should be relatively easy, right? Can't be difficult. Really can't be difficult. I'm going to go get some tools. So first things first, my advanced mechanicking skills. I've got to undo the bonnet. This should be relatively straightforward, right? I mean, even I can open the bonnet of a Mini. Or 2 pulls. Slightly different to Ruby Roadster. Now, where's the airbox? Hold on, just Google where the airbox is. Airbox, Mini Clubman. Must be that. Excellent. I knew, really. Okay, all joking aside, I knew where the airbox was, really. So it's screwed down by basically 4 screws there, 1 there, 1 here, and then 1 just tucked down behind that cable there. They are kind of like star head Allen key bolts. Luckily, I think I have the right Allen key for those. So the big worry I have is dropping bolts and things down in there, because I think that's going to be a nightmare. But look, this is the simplest DIY mechanic job in the world, but I reckon I got the option to screw it up. Now then, the biggest thing I'm worried about here is I was a cheapskate and bought some really cheap Allen key tools from, I can't remember which rubbish DIY shop, but unfortunately they're not magnetic, so the ends fall out quite easily. So what I've done is just taped this one up, because I am massively paranoid about this end falling into the engine bay somewhere. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be all right. Now then, hold on. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, right? Yeah. So, as I said, this is hardly really, you know, the most complex mechanicking task ever. But in a way, that's why I thought I'd do it, because we're always looking for ways to improve our car's performance, or the way it sounds, or the way it looks. And yes, you know, some of these things have to be done by, I mean, if you think of all of the stuff I had done on Ruby Roadster in terms of the performance stuff, I couldn't have done any of that myself. Come on, you know, changing things like diffs and clutches and all that kind of stuff. But this is one of those mods that I should be able to, he says confidently, should be able to do myself. And then there's just this one here, which is a bit more difficult to get to by the looks of things. So yeah, so the idea is, once the lockdown's finished, I'm going to have a chat with the guys from Motech and see, you know, what the options are for the Clubman. I know I said at the beginning they do BMW and Mini stuff, they do stuff for Audis, VWs, a whole range of different tuning options and so on. But hopefully that, does this just, oh, hello. I'll just pull that off, and there is, does that just come out like that? Interesting. Hey, look, there you go. So there is the old one. Now obviously this car's done 4,000 miles, so it's really clean. But hopefully the new one will just have that much better airflow. So I'm going to leave that there for a moment. I'm going to get the new one. First things first, I really hope it's the right shape. It's the right shape, people. It's the right shape. Interesting, so that's going to go in like that. Could this be real time the easiest car mod in the history of car mods? Let's just check. Ah, this is comforting. It's even the right shape and everything. Look. Just put that in there like that. Put that on top. Can't be that easy. Can it be that easy? I just know I'm going to get so much grief in the comments for this. So much grief. Now I'm not going to knit these all up tight. I'm going to make sure just put them just gently around each one. This one, still mega paranoid about losing the end to my Allen key. Now I'd also like to add, by the way, I know I keep putting myself down as a mechanic, but my first car, my Mark 1 Fiesta, I did quite a lot to that. I do oil changes and services, and that was back in the days when you used to regularly have to take the distributor cap off and check, you know, plug gaps and those types of things just to get it running properly. And just this one here. But I'm afraid as soon as engines started to get just like big plastic covers and complicated things, and I started to buy cars where you know, you'd want to keep up your service history, so you'd send them to the garage to get your stamp in your book. You just suddenly find yourself not going anywhere near the engine and doing anything, and then you lose all the confidence that you had before. I remember servicing a girlfriend's car and changing the oil, and the oil filter wouldn't come off, and I ended up sticking a screwdriver through it to try and lever it off, and then you've got to get it off then, right? And it wouldn't come off. It was a really cold day, and I ended up having to take the oil pump off and sticking it in a vise to kind of lever the oil filter off. It was just a nightmare. It's one of those jobs I thought, never ever want to do that. I reckon that is done. Now, one of the big challenges with doing this is, what I really want to do now is take it on a drive and have a feel about, you know, how it changes the car and what it sounds like. And obviously we're on lockdown. Good news though, I do actually have to go to the supermarket to buy some essentials. We've ran out of a couple of things, really important things, like we got no milk for tea in the morning and a couple of other things. So I am going to drive to my local supermarket. It's only in Chichester, it's like 2 or 3 miles, but I thought you might come along. We can just see if we can notice any difference in terms of the noise. But yeah, we can't take it much further than that. I would be cheeky and go, you know, let's go the long way home, but that's just not what this lockdown's about. So I do have to go out anyway, so I may as well stick a GoPro in the car and we can go and have a listen to see if we can hear the noise. What I'm also going to do, by the way, is I'm going to keep this in storage, so that, you know, when I want to return the car, I can return it back to normal. But there you go, that's it. Even I managed to do that, and I didn't lose me thingy down my engine bay. Rock and roll. Now then, just before we get in the car, one thing that kind of does wind me up about new Minis, and you may well have noticed, maybe you didn't, but the filter went in, and I kind of thought it would go in that way, but it actually went in upside down, because the air that's going into the engine is kind of coming through here, and then up through the airbox and into the engine and so on. But I've got this lovely bonnet scoop on here. You'd think, why doesn't the air go in there and get forced into the engine? Why? Because that's completely fake. And I know you can get a kit to open this up into a proper vent and then have forced air induction in through an airbox and then into the turbo in the engine. That's got me thinking. But yeah, totally fake vent. On a Series 1 on the R53, that was an open vent. It actually did something, and then they just kept it. Don't get me wrong, I think it looks really cool, but it is totally fake. You know me and fake stuff. Never impressed. That can mean only one thing. Mrs. Petrol has been driving the car. Every time I get in it nowadays, seat's in the wrong place. Anybody think it was her car? I don't know. Right, here we go. Turn that off straight away. Now, chances are I'm not going to spot anything in this drive, but we'll see. I really need a much longer drive. I've got to get the car warm, open its legs up and all that kind of stuff. But to be quite honest, I've actually missed sticking the cameras in a car and talking to you guys while I'm driving. It's just, I've not been able to do it for a couple of weeks, and some of you are probably going to give me grief for this, but I honestly, genuinely do have to go to the shops to buy a couple of things like milk and a couple of other essentials, a few things that we need for our tea this evening. I don't know what you guys are doing shopping wise. We're trying to shop for as close to a week as we can. We don't normally shop like that. We buy a lot of fresh stuff. We normally go on an almost day-to-day basis, but clearly now with the restrictions that we've got in place, we're kind of being recommended not to do that. You know, just to go out once a week to the shops. And we've been pretty good at that, but every now and again you'll realise that you've forgotten something. So one of the things we've run out of, we've not got any dishwasher tablets, which I know isn't it's a pretty first world emergency really, but we could do with some of those, and some washing tablets for clothes washing, and milk. guys from Motech said I might get, I'm just going to wind the window down a little bit, I don't know whether this is going to come out on camera, is I might get a little bit more turbo whine and induction noise. Difficult to tell really, the car's not warm. A very unscientific test, that's for sure. Guys, I'm going to kind of draw the video to a close. I don't feel right doing filming to camera at this time, to be honest. I just wanted to see if I mean, what I will find, and we'll do a proper drive much later on once the restrictions are lifted, I should find a little bit more response to throttle, a little bit more induction noise, and ultimately I'm just getting a better amount of air into the engine, some 30% better increase. I'll put Motech's details below and the particular product, because it's not a massively expensive modification to do. I've got a panel air filter in Ruby Roadster. It was one of the things that Lowen did when they did their Performance Pack 2. So, you know, it's a really super easy mod. I wouldn't even call it a modification really, as doing the word modification a massive disservice. But I do need to say a massive thank you and shout out to the guys at Motech for getting in touch. As I said, well, when I did the Q&A, they were on live there and teased me a little bit, and then I got in touch and said, look, what we'll do is send you a panel filter in the post. It'll be a great CarVid19 vlog for you. It's not very difficult to do. I think I've proved that one, super easy. And it should also give you some good performance benefits for the car. The other challenge about doing a performance run on the way to the shops is it's all 30-mile-an-hour limits pretty much, so I can't really do anything anyway. But I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have done so, please give me a big thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. Make sure you tune in every day at 6 o'clock for my CarVid19 Daily vlog. I do have quite a few ideas, but if you've got any ideas for vlogs, please feel free, put them in the description below, because I'm sure if we're on lockdown for as long as we think we might be, I'm probably going to run out. But I think I've got a national speed limit bit coming up. And I think the car might have warmed up a little bit. So let me just back off and we'll leave you with a bit of an acceleration, see if we can feel any difference. It's all in here anyway. Right, here we go. Put it in sport mode. She sounds good. She sounds good. But I'll see you on the next film, guys. You take care. Stay safe. And just in case you didn't believe me, I'm sure you did, but just in case you didn't believe me, here I am at Waitrose. Now then, am I going to have a giganormous queue around the block, or is it going to be okay? You just never know these days. Anyway, people, this is definitely me signing off. I'll see you on the next film. I'm gonna go on. Oh, there's no queue. There's no queue. Awesome.